Hello there, and welcome to another video. And, well, today's video is going to be an interesting one. So, I suppose let's just jump into it. The Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition came out this week. I think it came out, what day is it now? I think it came out Tuesday, no, it came out Monday. And, well, the entire thing has been an absolute shambles, to put it lightly. So there's been hello dog mate. So we've gotten many issues with it. The servers, the website went to crap. There's still issues today. A lot of the issues were resolved on the day of, but there's still a lot of issues that haven't been resolved. A lot of people, when it first launched, a lot of people weren't able to actually access the creations, which that was the whole point of it, was for like a lot of people, who were basically already played Fallout and stuff. They're buying the edition again just to kind of see the new creations. And I say new because obviously the creations already existed. Majority of them have already been on the store and stuff. But yeah, it's honestly, like, as someone who is a fan of, I'm a Starfield fan, so seeing Bethesda kind of mess up royally, it's nothing necessarily new, but I honestly expected better from them from Fallout. Like, it's one thing to kind of be like, okay, Starfield, it is what it is, it's a new IP, whatever. But like with Fallout and them squandering it, it's just kind of like, really? It's honestly, it's depressing, to be honest with you. So I suppose the first thing I wanted to talk about is the fact that it came out, the whole thing with the creations and stuff, like, from a business point of view, right? The whole point of, I think, the Anniversary Edition was to try and cash in on the idea that the Fallout TV show has kind of propelled Fallout to new new options. And I feel like a lot of the reason, they were pumping out the Anniversary Edition was to basically try and get people back into the game, or get people into the game. The advent of adding the whole, like, the creation bundles and stuff was a way to kind of, like, anybody who had played Fallout in the past, like, Fallout's, not new to them. It was kind of to give them some extra content. Kind of think with, like, a Skyrim Anniversary Edition where they added stuff. Now, see, where the problem starts to arise, right? First and foremost is the when it launched on Monday, it came out on PlayStation, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, right? So, not only did it break people's saves, which it, look, whenever an update comes out to a game that has, like, mods and stuff, there's a chance it will always break stuff. But on console, on PC, you have the option to, like, not update the game. On console, you kind of have to update the game, which is kind of problematic, I suppose. A lot of people lost their saves. Their saves were corrupted. They basically had to start from scratch, which I know a few people that are very pissed off because they've had, like, say, like, saves with hundreds, if not thousands of hours, where they made settlements and all this sort of stuff. And I understand it. Like, Fallout is ultimately like a 10-year-old game, and I always used to say, like, when it comes to, like, modding and stuff, that, like, generally speaking, after kind of Bethesda moved past a game, like, and, mods can allow you to tweak stuff, and you can kind of do what you want with the game. You can kind of turn it into whatever you want. Bethesda have kind of been retroactively making that not true, because they've gone back and kind of changed stuff. I don't know if the issues with Skyrim were as problematic. I don't know if saves broke as much. I think a lot of people just use older versions of Skyrim. But yeah, the I think the most glaring issue with the whole, with the Fallout Anniversary Edition is the fact that they sell it on PlayStation, right? But PlayStation currently, because of the issues with Sony and the kind of the requirements for mods to not use like external assets and like scripting and stuff, PlayStation's modding scene is very, very, very bare bones. Okay, now when the anniversary edition came out, you were given access to like over 150 creation stuff, which you have to go and manually download. Now, to my knowledge, people on PlayStation will get access to those 150 creations. However, Bethesda have added paid mods to Fallout 4. Now, look, we've all had this conversation before. If you're new, paid mods are just a way for independent creators to make some money and put out content. The first week of paid mods have come out, and there's some pretty interesting ones. There's also a couple of free creations that Bethesda have released themselves. Like, I think it's Fallout Beast Hunter, I believe. It's like a New Vegas-themed quest with like an NCR Ranger sort of thing. That, despite being put out by Bethesda, that is not on PlayStation. That is only on Xbox and PC. Now, I spoke to someone at Bethesda, and just to clarify and stuff. And again, I'm not going to go in too hard on them for the fact that it's not on Bethesda. Ultimately, it is on Sony and how Sony are. But regardless of that, it seems like, to be honest with you, right, and I don't like using the term lightly, it seems like a scam for anyone that purchased Fallout Anniversary Edition on PlayStation. Because, like, I think the only really, if you're like, look, let me get this straight. Let me be honest. If you're new to the Fallout environment, right, you want to experience Fallout 4 for the first time, while paying $60 for the Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition, like, personally, I think, like, it's not, it's a 10-year-old game, yes. Is it worth $60? Honestly, I would agree. Like, I would say, yeah, I would happily pay $60 for it. Now, that being said, you can get a lot cheaper. You could buy the Game of the Year edition probably on sale for like a tenner, I think. But the whole kind of point is it's not just about like kind of coming into the game for the first time. It's also kind of exposing players to the paid mod system, right? Which Starfield has had for a while, Skyrim has had for a while. The whole point of it is that verified creators, modders, are able to make paid content that you can purchase. And the whole point of it, I suppose, is to kind of add extra longevity to the game and kind of allow Bethesda to make more money. Here's the problem. Paid mods are not going to be on PlayStation for the most part, right? Because of the issues with Sony. So anybody who purchased Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition on PlayStation, basically it's a big fuck you from Bethesda, because again, if it's your first time playing, like Fallout, and like, let's say for instance you're like on PlayStation, even though, look, I know Microsoft owns Bethesda, so like obviously it makes sense that Xbox and PC would be the best ways to play. But honestly, I expected more from Bethesda, because yeah, if you were on PlayStation and you want to get like the full experience of Fallout, i.e. Fallout 4, the storyline, the DLCs, and also modding, which is an integral part of Bethesda games, you were shit out of luck. And honestly, it seems very scummy that Bethesda actually put the Anniversary Edition on PlayStation when you're missing out on stuff. Like, again, they put out that Beast Hunter. That's not on PlayStation. Now, again, to Bethesda's credit, it's not necessarily on Bethesda, but at the same time, it's like, you shouldn't have put it out in the first place if there's not going to be parity between, everything. And like, realistically, the whole point of the update and like saves breaking, the real reason behind them breaking is because Bethesda upgraded the saves, so the game now has Play Anywhere. primarily on Xbox. I don't know if it works on. It doesn't work with Steam and stuff, but basically you can transfer, or your save will transfer automatically between Xbox and PC Game Pass. Right. That's how I'm on a PC Game Pass right now. So like that in itself, very cool for people who play Xbox and PC Game Pass, which, you know, I feel like with Fallout, there's probably not a whole lot. Like I with Starfield, I'd say the vast majority of people playing Starfield are on Xbox or Game Pass. Fallout's not the case because, yeah, a lot of people who like play Fallout and play everything. It's just very insulting. Like, because again, if you just want to experience Fallout 4 and you're on PlayStation, realistically, you're better off buying the Game of the Year edition for cheaper, you know, and not worry about the modding. But the thing is, like, if you wanna experience modding and the paid mods, you don't do it on PlayStation. You know, like, just do it on something else. And it's again, it is insulting because a lot of people, like I've when I did my video kind of covering like the stuff, I had a lot of people on PlayStation saying, "Oh, we don't have access to that mod. We don't have access to that mod." And it's like, really? Like, I assumed that with how the paid mod system would work, because it's like technically the paid mods are owned by the creators, they could essentially just be kind of treated more like a mini DLC, so that they would get through Sony's issue. Now, to be fair to Bethesda, they have recently there's been a bit of a breakthrough when it comes to the paid modding sort of stuff. So verified creators on Skyrim are allowed to use scripts for PlayStation, which that's a big jump. And it's possible that it may come to, again, this is going off of what I've been told. It is possible that it will eventually come to Fallout, but like at that point, it's like eventually doesn't really help, you know. It's honestly just very frustrating. Like for better or for worse, geez, I feel like I've married Bethesda. I have had faith that Bethesda would see things right with Starfield, right? Despite the glaring choices they made with Starfield, or lack of choices, I expected, you know, like I was like, we're gonna ride this out and see where it goes, you know? And seeing how they've handled the Fallout Anniversary Edition and everything about it, it makes me ashamed to be a Bethesda fan. Like, every time Bethesda do something recently, it's just like two steps backwards. Like, the modding system, right? Like, let's be real. Like I said, the two main reasons I think with this Anniversary Edition to come out was to capitalize on the TV show and to kind of expose people to the kind of the paid modding. That was the whole reason they changed the creation menu. It's no longer mods in the Creation Club. It's now one thing, which I'm going to be honest with you. If anybody played Starfield, you will realize that the creations menu is kind of flawed to begin with. You know, like it's not a great menu. It's very hard to navigate. It's just a shit show, right? So when you have like people on PlayStation who are, yeah, they can't really experience modding to the full extent because it just doesn't exist. It's just very insulting, you know? Like, prior to the Fallout Anniversary edition update, the big thing with Starfield, I'm referencing Starfield again just because, you know, it's my primary content. The whole thing with like, it was like, okay, like we're not getting, like the rumors is we're not going to be getting any updates until PlayStation drops, right? Because there's rumors that Starfield's coming to PlayStation, right? And I mean, look, there's a part of me that's like, okay, like Starfield is, you know, going to PlayStation. Some people say, oh, it's, you know, it's just Bethesda trying to cash grab. And I don't want to believe that, right? Because I like to think like, okay, maybe like the whole thing with PlayStation, like, look, realistically, it's allowing them to get more money. Yes, I do, you know, I do realize that. And maybe they can, you know, they can put that money into like, you know, improving the game and stuff. And supposedly, because Bethesda are working on stuff with Starfield. and supposedly, like, people are now speculating that realistically we're not going to get an update on Starfield until the PlayStation release. But if it releases, I was hoping that by the time it would release, there would be parity between, I think I'm using that word correctly, between PlayStation and Xbox and PC to an extent, where, you know, everyone gets access to the same free mods, same paid mods. I'm guessing now that's not going to be the case, and PlayStation will have access to the base version of Starfield and Shattered Space and the very bare bones creations. You know, free mods, which realistically, the modding, on Starfield itself is quite bare bones. You know, there's some, don't get me wrong, there's some cool mod authors and stuff on Starfield, but I think the vast majority, like, are just not, you know, there's not a big modding community on Starfield compared to Fallout and Elder Scrolls. But when it, like, if it does launch on PlayStation and PlayStation have that limited kind of, you know, like, limited options when it comes to modding, I think the only people that are going to be making mods for PlayStation are going to be, like, they're going to be few and far between. Like, realistically, when it comes to paid mods, I can just imagine paid mods for PlayStation are just going to be people trying to capitalize on making money, you know, kind of pushing out questionable mods, which we've seen that. And, like, look, with Fallout Anniversary Edition, looking at kind of the paid mod selection we've got, that's another thing which I'll hopefully talk about in a moment. But the slop is here on Fallout. You know, like, it's on Skyrim, it's started on Starfield, and again, Bethesda, I hoped that Bethesda, like, I said, one of the things I said was that, like, when Elder Scrolls 6 comes out and Fallout 5, like, I really hope that Bethesda can fix and refine the paid mod system, because currently, while it has the potential to add some very, very cool paid mods, like, look, there's been some amazing paid mods on Starfield, amazing. But there's also been a lot of very questionable paid mods that are arguably scams, or just people, like, you know, charging money for a couple of, like, hours work, you know? And then you have, like, an influx of kind of people that sit in the middle, where it's like, the mods are okay, they're not bad, they're not scams, but it's like, should you really be charging for this? And again, yeah, like, I thought that I thought, like, there's no way Bethesda would, like, allow that to happen with Fallout 5 and Elder Scrolls 6. You know, like, it's one thing with Starfield, because Starfield already has, like, some negativity tied to it as is. Like, it's the paid mod thing, it's like, it's just the, you know, the cherry on top. But looking at the Fallout Anniversary Edition, and the fact, again, that they never made any changes to the base website itself, it's like, I don't know what to say. It's just, it's a shit show. It's an absolute fucking shit show. And again, I'm ashamed to be a fan of Bethesda, because I expected better from them. Like, when people said, like, oh, Bethesda, like, they're in it for the cash grab and stuff, I wanted to disagree. And to an extent, I still don't think that they're in it primarily to grab cash. You know, like, I feel like I attribute a lot of this issues, like, even with Starfield and now with Fallout, I think it's just mismanagement by Bethesda, just, like, misunderstanding certain things. One of the things I've kind of said, and I kind of believe in, like, when you look at Starfield, that I think there was something must have happened with Bethesda's, like, development, like, internally, at some point, because, like, Starfield shifted. They were very open, you know, very, like, we're gonna do this, to going radio silent. And, like, over the span of the year, we've gotten 2 tweets and a teaser trailer, and that's really it. And yeah, it's not to mention one of the kind of the biggest issues, like, with the whole modding thing too, is Bethesda promised that the mod limit will be increased, right? Currently, Fallout's mod limit for Fallout 4 is 2 gigabytes. Starfield, for comparison, is 100 gigabytes, which is fucking huge. I think it might be more, actually. I think it's 100 gigabytes. But, like, with that, Fallout 4, like, you're probably only going to be able to have like a handful of mods depending on the mods. Now, to be fair to Bethesda, they have come out and said they put out a thing recently that said that they're going to be working on stuff and there's going to be patches coming out. There's going to be a patch coming out the end of November and there's going to be a patch coming out in December. And the patch in November will be increasing the dog meat. You need to fucking relax. Jesus Christ. I miss Gary already. The paid the mod limit is going to be increased to 100 gigabytes, but why wasn't that a thing at launch, Bethesda? Again, it's just like 2 steps backwards. You're not even making a step forward. Like, again, you have the two sides of the two groups of people that are going to be interested in the anniversary edition, and the group that are interested in kind of experiencing the whole paid mods and stuff and modding in general, like, currently they can do fuck all. They just sit on their hands like, okay, you have to download individual mods, play them, delete the mods, make a new save, you know? That's, again, unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Why didn't you get this sorted so that it was ready for launch? You know, it's just, and like the laughable thing, right? So I let me just double check something, because I was looking at the so like when I was looking at like the Bethesda, like the creations, for instance, right? For Fallout. Let me look at some of the creations. We're gonna find one that like is for everything, right? So there's a doctor. So just looking at like the kind of, you know, like the mods and stuff, right? So I've just looked at a random mod that is paid mod that is accessible on all platforms: Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. There is almost twice as many Xbox bookmarks as there is PC, which that's what we saw with Starfield. There is 4 times the bookmarks for PlayStation. So PlayStation has twice as many bookmarks as Xbox and 4 times as many bookmarks as PC. And it was obvious. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, with Starfield jumping to PlayStation, it was a huge thing, right? Like, look, yeah, cash grab, whether it's a cash grab or not, that aside, it's going to pump numbers. Like, PlayStation have, I think, 5 times the player base as Xbox, right? Bethesda, you have unintentionally squandered it. I know a lot of people that bought the game on PlayStation and with all the issues refunded it, and I don't blame them. Like, if you had made it so that paid mods, and again, look, it's not entirely your fault, but like, clearly there must be some talk with them behind the scenes, you know? Like, if there will be a point in time, like if you Bethesda think at some point in the future, right? Let's say next year, right? Like middle of next year, whatever Starfield Anniversary Edition, Starfield Anniversary, Jesus Christ, whenever Starfield comes to PlayStation, right? If you think that by that point you will be able to have swayed Sony to allow modding to be more kind of in line with Xbox, then you should have waited to put out the Anniversary Edition on PlayStation at that point. Because currently, you've just alienated the entire, like, anyone who is a PlayStation player that is a fan of Bethesda titles, like, you basically told them to get fucked. And you've just squandered the potential to make a lot more money for, like, the paid mod system, because a lot of, like, again, like, those paid mods, like, there's some very talented mod authors out there that are in the creation program, like, they would have made, and look, there's going to be people who are going to be putting out paid mods, very minimal kind of, you know, like minimal changes so that they can capitalize on PlayStation. But honestly, if you are a PlayStation player, don't play Bethesda games. It's insulting. And I'm someone who, like, I used to be one of those Xbox fanboys who's like, fuck PlayStation, and I do still think fuck Sony. I think Sony are a little bit, you know, when it comes to like kind of You know, isn't PlayStation's whole thing power to the player, but not, you know, not allowed the player when it comes to modding and stuff, which, yeah. But, like, it's just, yeah, it's just very, very, very insulting. And I hope that anyone playing PlayStation just steps away from it until Bethesda get their shit in order, you know? Like, again, there's been, so I'm going to talk about some things that, like, are rumors. I'm not sure on the truth on them. I tried to check them out. Like, in the, supposedly, the free paid mod from Bethesda, the is it the Beast? Let me, what is it called? Is it the Beastmaster? Um, the free paid mod from Bethesda that was like only on Xbox and PC. Supposedly, that was originally when they were teasing that. They said that it was going to be available on everything. It's not available on everything. It's only available on Xbox and PC, not PlayStation. Sorry. And I think, and again, I haven't double checked because I don't have a PlayStation, but I've seen people say that certain free mods that exist, or the part of, you know, the stuff that was kind of bundled with the creations bundle, don't exist on PlayStation either. Like, for example, when you download the creation edition bundle on the store, you have to you have to basically, they don't like come preloaded in the game. You have to like manually download everything. Now, thankfully, you can use the install all paid owned paid creation content, and it will install the majority. But there's also some extra ones that are included that you have to download manually. Like there's what is it? There's like a power helmet. There's like a I can't remember what the name of it, but it's like scavenged power armor or something, which is free. There's also, there's a couple of other ones. I think there's like tribal power armor. Again, it's free, but you have to go and download it. I'm going to assume that's probably not on PlayStation, but I have no way of knowing. If you guys could let me know, for anyone that like did purchase the creations, is there ones that are missing that like you see Xbox players and PC players able to access? Let me know, because yeah. But I suppose, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's honestly, I'm very upset with Bethesda, and I think I think that if they want to get in people's good graces, they very much need to start winning back their, you know, their fans and stuff. Like, I would like to see them apologize to the fans for, you know, the dreadful launch, and give some sort of compensation to players. Like, obviously, true, the easiest way is to give them some kind of creation credits and stuff, but PlayStation players can't really make use of that. What are they going to buy? You know, there's fucking nothing on PlayStation like that is going to be that way, you know, good because of the stuff. Yeah, but I guess that's pretty much it, guys. Let me know what you think. Are you somebody who's a fan of Bethesda titles? Like, what is your primary kind of? Do you play on PlayStation? Have you been experiencing all these issues? Have you kind of stepped away? Do you play on Xbox? Do you play on PC? Let me know. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.